Well, happy Saturday. It's an especially good one here for soccer fans in the Metroplex. I'm Jeff Kolb. Thanks for joining us as we bring you some live reaction to the match reveal for the 2026 FIFA World Cup. We now have the full schedule, the details on which matchups are coming here to Dallas, to Arlington, technically, where we will see World Cup action inside of what will be called Dallas Stadium. We have the times. We know the USA schedule in Group D. And as exciting as the final draw was on Friday, I know for me, I'm looking at today where it's felt like they're maybe drawing out this schedule reveal. Man, this was exciting to see with what we get, including what looks like Lionel Messi and Argentina twice in the group stage round. Let's bring in Garrett Melcer with FC Dallas, digital content manager. Garrett, we were talking just a few minutes ago. You grew up in Austin, a huge soccer fan. Loved watching the Netherlands a little bit. That'll be one of the teams coming here in the group stage. When we saw the groups come out on Friday, you had a good feeling, right? Because you see the Netherlands, England, Argentina could all be coming here, but it wasn't a guarantee. And now, not only is it a guarantee, but Argentina twice, England and the Netherlands each once. What was the feeling like for you watching as this unfolded just now?
Yeah, thanks for having me, Jeff. Super excited based on that. I don't think Dallas soccer fans or just Dallas sports fans in general could hope for much better than getting the reigning world champions in Messi twice. But not just that, obviously. England, a top five ranked nation in the world, and Japan as well. Actually, a really good team. They've got an excellent generation coming through. And the Netherlands, like you mentioned, I love watching them growing up. The orange is iconic. They have awesome fans, so it'll be really exciting to have all those nations come here. And then as an FC Dallas guy, getting Croatia and hopefully Petar Musa, our star forward, on that team, maybe playing here in his adopted home. It couldn't get much better for us.
Yeah, there's so much that I want to dig into with this with you, including the USA slate in Group D. As we know, they'll be playing their group stage matches. What's hopefully just their first three matches, and then and advancing out of the group stage into the knockout round, what will be a round of 32. We'll get to that in a minute, and some of the other local guys, FC Dallas and just Metroplex, born and raised, that we hope to see in this World Cup. But I want to start with this slate of matches, the 5 group stage matches, which we'll show you here, that are headed to Dallas. So this is sinking in for me, Garrett. This is a 13-day span that we get, what has been hyped up for the last few years now as Super Bowls, 5 Super Bowls.
Mm-hmm.
And, I think, for, maybe not the biggest soccer fans or experts, as I'll put myself in that category, you're like, okay, is it really a Super Bowl? This isn't the final of the tournament. But when you see these squads, the Netherlands on June 14th, 3 days later, we get England and Harry Kane against Croatia, as you mentioned, hopefully Petar Musa. What an unbelievable story that will be. Then we get the first, hopefully, Messi match with Argentina versus Austria on June 22nd. Japan versus the European playoff winner there on the 25th. That could be Ukraine, Sweden, Poland, or Albania. And then one more Argentina match. Of course, Argentina, the reigning World Cup champs. This could not have been a better draw, right?
No, essentially not. I mean, Dallas getting 4 top 10 ranked teams playing here just in the group stage, that's phenomenal. And when you mention like the Super Bowl and whatnot, when you have teams ranked in the top 10, there's going to be massive stars on every single squad. And of course, fans traveling from their respective nations here and probably making Dallas at least part of their stop here or even staying here long term. That's super exciting. And those are going to be massive games with some of the best players in the world. Looking at the Netherlands, Virgil van Dijk, Cody Gakpo, both Liverpool stars, Frankie de Jong, star in the midfield for Barcelona. And then England, I mean, you mentioned Harry Kane, but also Jude Bellingham, Real Madrid, Bukayo Saka of Arsenal, and then, of course, Messi and in Argentina. I mean, that's some incredible star power that we're going to be able to witness live in the most competitive environment possible. As a sports fan, as a soccer fan, I mean, this is like Christmas, and we get it 5 times just in the group stage.
Yeah, and for Messi, this is in all likelihood his final World Cup. I guess it's not fully confirmed that he will play. I'm going to go ahead and hope that he will play for Argentina and be on the roster as they try to defend their title. But I think this was the hope and dream that we would get to see Messi in this World Cup, especially after seeing the Messi mania, right? When he came over here to join Miami in the MLS. I remember, and I'm sure you do, just the madness of when he first played at Toyota Stadium in that MLS Leagues Cup match. And I remember seeing him go into the Cotton Bowl, even for that preseason friendly with FC Dallas. I believe that was earlier this year. But it's just something like I've never seen before, Messi mania, and now we're getting it twice in the group stage.
Oh, it's crazy. I mean, he's a transcendent athlete, in my opinion, the best soccer player of all time. And like you mentioned, I mean, we've been lucky enough to see him twice against FC Dallas. The Leagues Cup game 2 years ago. I mean, I've never seen anything like that. The stadium was packed. The environment was outrageous. There was a lot of FC Dallas fans and a lot of Messi fans, and they were chanting back and forth, which is an interesting environment for a home game for FC Dallas. But when it's Messi, you kind of expect that. And he obviously put on an incredible show with 2 goals and a last-minute free kick that broke all of our hearts. But it was one of those where you're witnessing greatness, and you're witnessing the greatest of all time at his very, very best in a competitive game. That was an incredible moment. And now to have the chance to see him twice in the World Cup on the biggest stage as the reigning world champion that he is, I mean, it's just going to be so, so special. And I really hope, I mean, he's of course later on in his career right now, but he's still the best player in MLS and one of the best players in the world. So it's going to be a real treat for everyone who can get into that stadium for those games.
That's right. He has a championship on the line tonight, right? So in the
Absolutely.
MLS. So I'll just remind people, because in sports nothing's a guarantee. And so I remember back when the final was awarded to New York. I think there was obviously disappointment here that we didn't get the final match for this World Cup, even though we got the most matches with 9 in total. But there's no guarantee that Messi will be playing with Argentina in that final match. We are guaranteed to see him twice, and you just never know, Garrett, like what might unfold. What if there's some disaster early in the group stage, and Argentina somehow is upset in that opening match of theirs up in Kansas City? I know I'm throwing out some long shots here, but there could be some very unforeseen drama with what if it's Messi and Argentina trying to survive in that final group stage match to extend his World Cup career?
I mean, it's entirely possible. Even last tournament where they won the whole thing, they lost in the group stage to Saudi Arabia. It was the biggest upset in World Cup history in terms of the FIFA World Rankings. So Saudi Arabia ranked very high, and of course Argentina at the time was top 3, I believe, and they lost. And they had to overcome that, and then they went on quite a generational run to go and lift the trophy. But those things happen. The year that Spain won in 2010, they lost in the group stage as well. These great teams can lose these games because there's just so much pressure on the line for everybody. And regardless of how many stars are on the field, you never know what's going to happen on the day. And especially with these lower ranked teams, this is the biggest game of all these players' lives, undoubtedly. So they're going to put out as much effort as humanly possible. And so you can get these upsets. And so there's every opportunity for that last Argentina game to be do or die, make or break. It's certainly possible.
Yeah, that will be Saturday, June 27th, Jordan and Argentina, a 9 p.m. Start time from Dallas Stadium in Arlington. We were talking about this right after the match schedule was fully revealed. I'm going to guess that there's a high probability, Garrett, that Argentina would choose to put its base camp here in the Metroplex. We don't know. We will find out. I'm just basing that off of looking at they play their first group stage match just a few hours north. You could drive there. They won't. They'll be flying there in Kansas City. And then you have your second and third match here in the DFW. So that would be really, really cool. Not only to have the matches, but Messi and Argentina shacking up here, training here in North Texas. The other thing that comes with finding out which teams, which nations are coming here, Garrett, is, for some people, they might not, care too much about the game of soccer or football, but these fan bases, these nations, these people are all coming here, and so whether you're going to the games or watching the matches or not, you're going to see people from the Netherlands, Japanese fans, Croatian fans, England fans, all here. And I know you were telling me before that you really enjoyed watching the Netherlands growing up. You mentioned, they have some insane traditions, which I'd love to hear more about. I've heard that the Japanese fans have made a habit of like cleaning up the whole stadium after matches. This should just be fascinating, not only to see the teams, but the people.
Yeah, I think that's one of the most special things about the World Cup is that it's truly a World Cup, right? You get nations from all around the world and they bring their culture when they travel. You'll see the Dutch fans will be all decked out in orange. It's going to be the orange wave ascending on Arlington for their match. Then it's going to be really cool to see that. And then, of course, the England fans, they have their chants. They've got their crazy songs. They'll probably be marching down in Arlington, singing some crazy stuff. That'll be super cool to see. And it's just going to be so special to have these people bring their traditions and bring their culture here, and we're going to get to see it. And these are also the most passionate fans, right? They're traveling across the world and spending quite a bit of money to see these games and to stay in these cities. So it's all or nothing for these people, and it's going to be really, really cool to see it up close and personal.
It's going to be a 13-day party. If we can just flash up one more time the group stage schedule here, those 5 matches in Dallas. There it is. So I'll just read off. It's not on the screen here, but the start time. So on the 14th, that Netherlands match is at 3. The England match is at 3. These are Central Time. That first Argentina match on a Monday is at noon. So that'll be a little bit interesting. And then on the 25th, which is a Thursday, that Japan match is at 6, and the last one with Argentina on the 27th is at 9. And so I throw those times out because as we're talking about the people will be partying, Garrett. And so it's going to be interesting on Monday, June 22nd, to see if people are skipping work, maybe going to the bar and starting the party early.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised, right? The World Cup only happens every 4 years.
Right.
It's not a guarantee that your nation qualifies for it. So you have to absolutely make the most of every single game. And so I highly encourage everyone to maybe skip work and enjoy these games for what they are, because having a World Cup in your home nation, it's a once in a generation opportunity. I wasn't born the last time the World Cup was held in the U.S., so I just can't wait to be a part of it this time and experience it and just enjoy those games throughout the day, into the evening, into the night. Whenever they are, I will be watching.
I'd been born, but I was 4. I don't remember it. I don't remember it back in '94. So the other, I think, big exciting part of these last 2 days has been seeing the slate now for the U.S. men's national team. And on Friday, I think it was really a lot of excitement to see the other 3 nations that the U.S. has drawn in Group D, Paraguay, Australia, and then a playoff nation. Could be, maybe Turkey is the favorite to win that playoff. We'll see. But bottom line, Garrett, the U.S. has now risen under their relatively new coach, Mauricio Pochettino, their new manager, to the 14th ranking in the world. None of these other nations are ranked that high. You have to like this slate for the U.S., although I know Poach was saying yesterday we have to respect everybody.
I mean, that's absolutely true. But I think in their heart of hearts, competitively, this is almost the ideal draw for the U.S. Because looking at pot 2, the second highest ranked team that would be going into the U.S.'s group, Australia was the lowest ranked at 26 in the world. And just looking at the squads on paper, there were a lot of other teams with more talent on paper. Now, like I said, it's the World Cup. Anybody can beat anybody. So you certainly can't look past anybody. And I'm sure the U.S. won't, right? It's 3 games. It's the biggest games of all those players' lives. So there's no looking past anybody. But when you get Australia and not, something like Belgium or something like that, Paraguay, and I think Turkey is a good shout from you. I think that's very likely. You have to like your chances, absolutely. And And I think the U.S. will go into these games feeling very good. They actually played Australia in a friendly in October and beat them 2-1 in a super physical game. I think we might see that once again. And actually, yesterday after the draw, I spoke to Chris Richards and Tanner Tessman, former FC Dallas players who are regulars with U.S. men's national team, and they sounded pretty excited about the draw. I think they like the makings of this group, so I think the U.S. can feel about as good as possible after yesterday's draw.
Yeah, nothing's a given, but I think this is a really, really good slate. It starts with Paraguay, June 12th in LA. That's a Friday. It will be a 9 p.m. Central Time start. Then Australia in Seattle, 2 p.m. on June 19th, another Friday. And then it wraps up with whoever wins that playoff at 9 p.m., another 9 p.m. Central start on June 25th. This was a little bit of the reaction yesterday after the draw to seeing what the U.S. has in Group D.
We start to think, no, maybe it's not too difficult to go through. We should win before to play the games. That is a wrong mindset. We need to be strong in our belief, keep improving, thinking in big, of course, and to go and to win the World Cup. But the thing is, before we need to play and be motivated to play with these guys that are going to be really tough.
That's the coach speak you need to hear, right, Garrett, from Mauricio Pochettino. And to be quite frank, this program, the U.S. men's national team, has had some pretty heartbreaking upsets in recent history with World Cup qualifying. I don't even want to mention them because I know they still hurt. And this cycle on its own, obviously, with the managerial change from Greg Berhalter to Pochettino, has been packed with some ups and downs. You think back to the summer, they make it to the Gold Cup final, but you lose to Mexico. It seems like the arrow has been pointing up since then. What do you make of what this cycle has been and the confidence that the U.S. should have at this stage about 6 months out from the World Cup?
Well, it's been a really unique cycle in a lot of ways because as a host nation, we didn't have to go through World Cup qualifying. So essentially, the only litmus tests we have are friendly games, which, they're not quite the same as when there's, points and competition on the line. So it's actually quite hard to know where the U.S. is. And I think a lot of fans and myself were a little bit worried earlier this year when results and performances were not what we wanted them to be. And I think a lot of that was Mauricio Pochettino just trying to learn his team, trying to better understand the talent pool that the U.S. has as a new coach. But in recent months, once he's kind of settled on his group of 15 to 17 players that are featuring regularly, performances have looked much better, and the results have followed. So, without having World Cup qualifying as a long-term proof of concept, it's tougher to know where the U.S. is. But going purely off recent friendly performances, I think we're playing some great soccer right now. And this is the most talented roster the U.S. has ever had. The golden generation has been thrown around. I'm not sure it's quite that. I think this is not just a one-off. I think we're going to keep producing talent like this in the long term, and we're only going to get better. But I think the U.S., especially with this group, can really like their chances to make a run, and especially on home soil. I mean, having the fans behind you, knowing the stadiums you're playing in, it's all in the U.S.'s hands to really go for it and do something that they've never done before.
Garrett Melcer, digital content manager with FC Dallas, joining me. I think we're both pretty pumped reacting to what we've seen here with the final draw yesterday, and now especially the match reveal, these 5 group stage matches coming here to what will be called Dallas Stadium with Argentina and Messi, the Netherlands, Harry Kane, and England. It's going to be awesome. As we're speaking about this U.S. men's national team, Garrett, I'm reminded back to 2022 and some of the local guys that we were focused in on, hoping that they would have an impact in Qatar for Team USA. And now I'm reminded that a lot of them are just out of the picture now. And that's really like the Olympic cycle aspect to this. It's every 4 years. The window for a player to have their World Cup moment is so small. And that just adds the pressure and the urgency for all of these guys as they head into a tournament like this. I know one local guy that will be back in the mix for the U.S. is Weston McKennie. What do you make of where he's at, and who are some of the other guys with some local ties for Team USA that we might see make an impact this summer?
Yeah, Weston McKennie is, of course, the big name. He's been a star for the U.S. for a long time. He plays in Italy for Juventus, one of the biggest clubs there. He's a regular starter and does well for them. But some of the up and coming guys who haven't been on previous World Cup rosters, Chris Richards, Tanner Tessman, who I mentioned and spoke to you yesterday. They're former FC Dallas Academy players, former FC Dallas homegrowns who now play in Europe. Chris Richards with England, or in England with Crystal Palace, and Tanner Tessman playing for Olympique Lyon in France. And of course, Ricardo Pepi as well, who starred for Dallas as an 18-year-old before transferring to Germany. He's now playing in the Netherlands. All those guys are absolutely in the mix. They've played under Pochettino recently, and I would expect to see them in the squad come next summer. But look, it's really hard to make a World Cup team. You have to be fit and healthy first of all, but you also have to be playing the best soccer of your life because there's a ton of competition for these spots, of course, and you also have to fit into the team. Depending on the competition in your own position, whether it's a system that fits your position. It really depends on what the head coach wants there. But I would expect those four names to certainly be in the mix, if not be locks for that squad. And I think there's a good chance that at least three of them are starters come the World Cup, which would be super incredible to see.
That would be amazing. So those are some guys that locally we can all root for and pull for to be making an impact in that USA jersey, that USA kit. And then, around here, we're also pulling for our FC Dallas guys, of course, who you know as well as anybody. You mentioned Petar Musa with Croatia. He's been a really successful striker for FC Dallas. And then I know Lucius Dondietsen, another winger who has a chance to have an impact for Haiti. Give us a little bit of detail on their journey, their paths, and their chances for, first of all, making their national team final rosters and then making an impact this summer.
Yeah, I'll start with Petar Musa, of course, Dallas's top scorer. He broke some records this year. Fantastic player. He was actually out of the picture for the Croatian national team for about 2 years. And then last month, he was called in for the first time. And he ended up starting their second to last World Cup qualifying game and scored the winner in that game, which officially clinched qualification for Croatia. So that's only going to help his case. Now, of course, Croatia, top 10 in the world. They finished top 3 in the last 2 World Cups. It's going to be very difficult to make that squad for any player. But Musa is scoring goals basically every single game for FC Dallas, and then scoring the goals for Croatia when he gets the opportunity. So he definitely has a chance, but it's a competitive environment for Croatia. But we would love to see him there, especially because, as we found out today, they will be playing England in Dallas. I mean, to see Petar Musa against a team like England here at home in his adopted city, that would just be absolutely incredible. And you mentioned Lucius Dondietsen, winger for Haiti. He's a very important part of that team. He actually also scored the game-winning goal in the game that clinched Haiti qualification for their first World Cup since 1974 and just their second one ever. And it's a really incredible story because obviously a lot of political unrest in that nation right now, unfortunately, which meant that they weren't able to play any of their qualifying matches actually in Haiti. They played in different countries around the Caribbean, so they never had home field advantage throughout their qualifying campaign, but they beat the odds, and along with the help of Lucius Dondietsen, they're qualified, and he's almost definitely going to be a lock for that team. He's one of their star players, and we'll hopefully get to see him play very, very well in what is quite a tough group. They've got Brazil and Morocco, so that's a really tough matchup. But like I said earlier, it's the World Cup. Anybody can beat anybody, and it's going to be really, really high pressure and really exciting games.
It's just the stories that are coming together. It's like one movie script after another. Like the stars literally aligning for some of these guys. You mentioned, like Petar, the fact that he's at this stage in his career and he's with FC Dallas and he's with Croatia, and Croatia's coming to, like, you can't script it. And I think you were telling me earlier today with Lucius, when he moved over to the States, he moved to the Atlanta area, I believe you were telling me, and they're playing one of their matches there. So it's just insane.
Yeah, super. It's a great story for him. He moved to Atlanta to continue his soccer career, spent some time in the Atlanta United Academy before going to Europe and becoming a professional there. So that's his adopted city in the U.S. And now he has the opportunity to play in Mercedes-Benz Stadium at the World Cup. I'm sure he'll have a lot of friends and family there. It's just, no matter what, if you're playing in the World Cup, that's going to be probably the peak of these players' career. But then you add on the second layer of, playing in a city that you grew up in, or playing in front of friends and family and not having to travel. It just makes it that much more special.
Yeah. I want to go back to the U.S. slate. We'll flash up the Group D schedule one more time. So, on one hand, Garrett, like we want the U.S. to win the group, right? But selfishly, here in the DFW, if they finish second in the group, then they come here for the round of 32. I get the sense, just in talking with you, that there's a lot of confidence that the U.S. is likely to win the group. But how do you, I guess, kind of weigh out where there might be a moment that the U.S. could slip up most? Is it Paraguay? Is it Australia? Is it maybe one of those playoff teams?
It's so tough to know this far out.
Yeah.
I do like our chances against Australia. They're a very physical team, but I think that's something that the U.S. matches up with really well because we have some fantastic athletes and some good size in our team as well. And having played them last month, and we were just the better team in that game. I think that bodes well against Australia. I think Paraguay could be an interesting game. South America, they play a different style. And maybe don't know a lot about those players, that they don't feature against the U.S. very often. Tougher to know what they're going to be. And South American qualifying is as a slog. It's super difficult, obviously, with the amount of talent and how few spots there are to qualify. So any team that qualifies from South America is going to give you a great shot. And then, we have to wait and see for the last one. I think Turkey is likely, like we said, and they have some fantastic talent. They have top players playing in some top teams in Europe. So you don't know what you're going to get with them as much. But like I said a few times now, you can't look past anybody. It's the World Cup. You have to bring your A game in every single one. And you kind of mentioned finishing first or second. I don't care. Just get through the group. Just get through the group, and then see where you go from there.
Absolutely. Great insight here from Garrett Melcer. For me, and I'm sure a lot of people, like the learning process is in motion here as we try and really get set for this summer so we can fully enjoy what is coming our way here in North Texas. As we get close to wrapping up here on the match schedule reveal day, Garrett, we've talked at length about the 5 group stage matches that are coming here to Dallas Stadium. Then we get spoiled with 4 more knockout round matches, highlighted, of course, on July 14th with the semifinal. That will be a 2 p.m. Central Time start. Obviously, we don't know who will be there, but it promises to be 2 amazing nations. And when you think about how the World Cup works, Garrett, you get these people, as we're talking about, who are coming from all over the world. Some of them, they're along for the ride as long as it goes. I mean, they're coming over here in June, and if their nation makes it through into mid to late July to that final in New York, New Jersey, they're there all the way. So by the time the semifinal comes around, like the most diehard of diehard fans are there. As we try to just envision and imagine what that day will be like, how do you picture July 14th being here in the Metroplex?
Oh man, we mentioned how each game is a Super Bowl. That's going to be a Super Bowl. I mean, obviously, I think a lot of people here wanted the final, but a semifinal in 9 games overall is a fantastic consolation prize for Dallas. And no matter who makes that semifinal, it's going to be a fantastic team, probably with a bunch of stars, and their fans are going to come here in droves. It's going to be a massive party, and everything is going to be on the line. I mean, everybody who kicked a ball at any point has dreamed of playing in a World Cup final, and that match is the one. If you win it, you go to the World Cup final. You're one step closer to the ultimate dream of any soccer player. So it's going to be passionate. It's going to be rowdy. It's going to be packed. It's going to be an incredible atmosphere. So it just being a part of that in our city, it's going to be second to none, and I can't wait for it.
Unbelievable. I mean, the dream has started. We're talking here on December 6th. The action kicks off June 14th, so that's just over 6 months out. That again, this is crazy. 13-day span, 5 matches in Arlington, Texas, in the 2026 FIFA Men's World Cup. A historic tournament. 48 nations, 48 teams for the first time ever, expanding up from 32. Garrett, thank you so much for the time, hopping on here to react to this big schedule reveal. As I mentioned, make sure you give Garrett a follow, Garrett Melcer, on all the social media platforms. And of course, have to plug and remind everybody that you can watch every single match of this World Cup in the English broadcast format on Fox, on Fox 4. Stick with us on Fox Local, fox4news.com, on our YouTube channel, on TikTok, as we continue to build everybody up to this historic event, the 9 Super Bowl type matches coming here to the DFW. Garrett, thanks for the time, and congrats to us, because, I mean, this is just awesome. I'm so fired up.
Congrats to us. Thanks for having me, Jeff. This was a lot of fun.
Absolutely. Thank you, everybody. Have a great rest of the weekend, and we look forward to getting you ready for the 2026 World Cup. We'll talk to you soon.